I'm like, well, that just means I'm just getting faster and faster at identifying people who are not a good fit in my life.
Dude, that's a win.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, everyone. You're listening to The Modern Bay Woman. I'm Cathy.
And I'm Jackie. And this is the podcast where career-driven, wellness-minded Bay Area women come together to
Share their thoughts and feelings
laugh through dating stories
and find community in this journey we call life.
Welcome to episode 7. In episode 6, we talk about meeting the parents. So if you're interested in hearing about our stories on Cathy meeting white boy number 2's parents and him meeting her parents, and same on my side, jump to episode 6, meeting the parents.
And in today's episode, we're going to talk about breakups, healing, and lessons learned.
So Cathy, the big question is, what's going on? How are you feeling?
So, white boy number 2 and I broke up. Dun, dun, dun. Shocker. Are we actually surprised, though, or did we see this coming?
I think we all saw this coming.
So, basically, what happened was we came back from our trip to Greece, and then we actually took another trip down to LA with his friends, just for celebratory reasons over July 4th. Hung out, had a great time, but I did feel like I was walking on eggshells the entire time that I was there because after Greece, before LA, we already knew that there were just like some issues within our relationship, and he kept telling me, you keep, bringing up little things that are so small in the relationship, and you're not really focusing on the big stuff, and it seems like all these little things keep bothering you. And he's like, the more you bring it up to me, it's like the more we talk about it, but there's not really any resolution, so like what's the point of talking about it? And he's like, I'm kind of tired of talking about it.
Right, so you were like, I'm just not gonna try to talk about these things that I feel like are unresolved and bothering me during the LA trip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll try just like observing and really thinking through like what are things that are deal breakers, and I guess you could say things that are like the hill you want to die on.
Yeah, and then you didn't bring anything up while in LA. Like you definitely, there were things where they bothered you, but you were like, I'm just not gonna talk about them in the moment.
Yeah, I was like, okay, let me just really try and observe, and we're just trying to have a good time with his friends, and I'm just kind of thinking about how I feel, etc. And then we got back, and I was like, so how do you think the trip went? He was like, it was great. We didn't fight. Your friends are amazing. Yeah, I have amazing friends. He's like, wow, I'm jealous.
So did he like flip the question on you and be like, how did you think it went? Or was it like, okay, I'm glad it went well for you, but it didn't go well for me?
Yeah, I was like, okay, it sounds like it's great that it went well for you. I actually feel like I was walking on eggshells the whole time, and I feel like we're just not on the same page. It's like, because I'm like going over so much, right? At some point, it just feels like I was like, we're just like roommates living together. Well, not even living together. It's like I just like stay over because it's convenient, and then I like leave.
But he didn't feel like you were acting any different in LA? He like thought you were like, all good, everything is good.
Yeah, kind of. And then I think for him too, he's like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, I feel like we could just keep doing this for like years because it's just like comfortable and easy. And I'm like, well, I definitely can't keep doing this for years because I feel like I can't be myself around
Were you like feeling that while you were in LA too?
Yeah, I just feel like you're like putting on this facade of like we're smiling at each other and like, yay, it's so great. But it was great seeing my friends. I felt like that's when I could be me and like chat and talk. And even like when we were like hanging out with his friends, like, sometimes I'm like not even sitting with him. I'm just like chatting with the other people, right? And like getting to know them. Just being like a good +1, type of thing. And we're, still there next to each other. But yeah, I felt like I definitely like didn't feel the same.
It's like you were having a fight up until you like rang the doorbell to go to someone's house party.
And you're like, hi.
Hi. You just like ring the doorbell.
Welcome.
Okay, we got to talk about this later. Ding dong. Put on your smile.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I mean, all his friends are great, super nice people, but it's just like, yeah, it feels kind of fake, right? And
Right.
I'm not that type of person to do that. And so when we got to the point of the break, I was just like, hey, like, I just feel like I don't like want to do this, and I don't think like you're in it either, right? Like
Yeah, what did he say to that?
I think he kind of like, he's like, yeah, I don't really feel like the sparks are the same as before either, and I don't think that's like improved. And he's like, I don't really know why. It just is kind of like we were like a sparkler candle, you know, at the beginning, and fireworks, really excited, and then it just kind of like fizzled out after, you know, a couple months.
Yeah, you can't add more kindling to a firework or a sparkler, and
Yeah, like once it's gone, it's gone, right?
It's gone. Yeah.
And I could tell too, you know, like just like throughout the relationship, I'm like, you're putting in less effort, right? Like I can see it, but I'm not really bringing it up in a sense.
Before we get to like what happened to get there, did you feel a certain type of way when he reacted like that he agreed?
I think I felt good. I felt relieved that, okay, so like this is kind of like, it's like mutual, right? Where we're both like, this is like not working. This is not something we want. So instead of like me feeling like I'm walking on eggshells and him being like, I'm just like here.
What was it that like confirmed for you that you agreed? I always feel like sometimes people are like, yeah, we broke up, but they don't say exactly what was said to be like definitively we broke up. Did you say we should break up? Did you say
I think
we should
so.
move on? Did you
Yeah,
say...
I was like, I think we should break up, because I was like, I don't think, like, I don't like the way that I feel about this. I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't feel like there's like as much effort or a spark from your side where like you like me as much as you did before or love me, whatever. And so like, what's the point, right? He's like, yeah, we could keep doing this comfort thing for like a couple years, but it's like, why? Like we're wasting each other's time.
You didn't feel comfortable at all though.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think from his side, he's like, oh, this
Oh.
is all comfortable and like great. And I'm like, well, then you really don't know me, because I feel so like uncomfortable around you right now.
Okay.
And, you know, of course, like we talked about it for a little bit. We both cried a bit, which is like normal, right? It's like tears. But compared to how much I cried in some of my previous relationships, this was like quite minimal, I would say. And probably same thing for him, right? And it like, of course it sucks. Like you're breaking up. You really cared about this person at some point. And he's like, yeah, like we can be friends. And I'm like, honestly, I don't need more friends. As you can see, I have amazing friends already. I'm not going to spend time being friends with you, like, because why? What's the point?
Yeah.
We're not looking for the same things, and we're not on the same page. And I'm sure you're a great friend maybe in the future, but it's like I'd rather spend my time getting to know like new people who are potential partners, and then deepening the relationships that I already have with friends that I'm really close with.
Yeah.
You know how earlier when I was like, oh, I felt like a sense of relief when we broke up. Did you ever feel like that with any of your relationships?
I feel like with my college boyfriend, it was a huge sense of relief because I really felt kind of trapped in that relationship. Like I had a lot of friends because of that relationship, and my life was very set in front of me with that relationship. And so when we finally broke up, I wasn't like relieved that I didn't have that life path anymore. I was like relieved that I didn't have to deal with him anymore. And, like I didn't have to plan for him. I didn't have to include him anymore. And I had like a bigger sense of grief for like the life plan that I had. But there was a huge relief of like, oh my God, I don't have to deal with this person anymore.
So it was less I'm sad about the guy. I'm sad about everything that comes with the guy.
Right. It was very much like a sadness and a fear and a loss of family, like interaction set up really well, and my future potential trips planned, and like if I wanted to have kids, like how those kids would be raised, and like the vision for my life sunsetted.
Yeah, sometimes I like wonder if I liked the idea of white boy number 2 more than I liked him.
Yeah, you had a lot of potential plans.
Yeah, and definitely just moving way too fast, clearly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about how we got here. You kind of alluded to it, like in LA you were walking on eggshells, but there was a lot that led you to behave like that in LA. Like, what was happening that led you to be like, I'm just gonna like take a step back and like trying to fix things and try?
Let's start with like what it used to be like. He would get me flowers every week, and we would debrief at night. We would go on date nights every week. He'd like get me breakfast when I worked from home from his place on Fridays. So that was very sweet of him. It showed me he was like being thoughtful.
Yeah.
I was on his mind, and I think after a while, I don't know if we like just got busy or after kind of like the first fight. I think probably after that was when things started maybe going a little bit downhill, because it's like all rainbows and sunshines and it's so great, right? And you're so excited, and then you kind of hit a bump in the road and you're like, well, I don't know, do I want to try this hard? Are we super like aligned on that? And then slowly like the effort isn't as much there, but you're like, oh, maybe we're past the honeymoon stage, so we'll like let it be a little bit and just kind of see. And then yeah, you just kind of like maybe stop prioritizing each other as much. You still try to do some of these things, but it just maybe isn't the way you think.
So what were you hoping he would do? Like, you were hoping that you guys would like resolve your fight and things would be the same?
Yeah, it's like, okay, clearly we're having like all these little fights about little things, as you said, and I feel like I've brought them multiple times before. So clearly I'm not feeling heard, right? If I keep bringing up the same things, in your mind they might be little, but they're clearly not little for me, because to me little things point to bigger things, and it's like, if we can't even get the small stuff right, like how are we gonna get the big stuff right? It's like simple things like showering at night, right? Which you're like, okay, like, do we really care that much? Like, okay, you have like different shower preferences. I'm like, yeah, but then kind of like leads to cleanliness. We're both getting the same bed. If I just already feel like, oh, you're kind of like gross coming into bed, like that doesn't make me feel comfortable.
Yeah, but that's like a
bed.
cultural issue. You guys had another issue that was like, he
Was snoring at night, so I got terrible sleep every time I slept over.
I don't know if that's like an issue to resolve though. I feel like a good example was like when you were kind of tidying up and you had like a set path of like, you were going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. One of those things he like jumped in and took over because he had an anxiety or something. And like y'all didn't really have a good reaction to it. And then you talked about it afterwards, but you didn't like resolve the root of the issue. You just were kind of like, oh, we should be able to step in and help each other.
Yeah, and it's like dumb stuff about like, oh, I'm like cleaning, and he's like, well, let me help you with this pan, and I'm like, well, just like let me do it in my own time and space, right? Like at some point I just felt like we have a conversation, he's like, yeah, I'm listening, like thank you for sharing with me, but it just like seemed fake, right? Where it's like, and okay, yeah, like he works in HR, so, but I'm not really hearing you, or I'm not really showing that I'm going to put the effort in to actually make it better. Like there's like no changes on your side.
It also sounded like he had an issue with you that he didn't address. Like for me, the pan, the reason why I bring up the pan issue is a cast iron skillet does need to be cleaned a certain way. And there's a lot of anxiety around messing up a cast iron pan because it takes months to build up the seasoning and to fix any issues. So I feel like he should have told you, I'm going to clean my pan because XYZ, or I can't let the pan soak because of XYZ. Instead, he was just like, oh, let me step in and help you clean the pan. And you were like, why are you doing that? Just like, I'm going to get to it. Don't worry. He didn't actually tell you that he had a problem. He was just like, oh, I want to be able to step in and help you like when it makes sense.
Yeah, so it's almost like you're trying to put a positive spin on stuff, and you're not really telling me things that actually bother you. Because I feel like he's a very like conflict adverse person, where he's like, oh, I'm trying to like go with the flow, I'm like really chill as a person. I'm like, okay, but then there's also like you're being inauthentic in a way.
So it's kind of condescending. It's like he's kind of being condescending by being like, he can't handle the truth, or he can't like be honest with you. Like that's kind of the real issue. I feel like he couldn't tell you his real problem.
It's almost like, okay, you're making it seem like I'm always the one bringing up issues, which is kind of true, because I do, right? Like, I'm very straightforward about, like, this is what bothers me. This is why. Here's an example.
Yeah. And you have no problem telling someone your issue, like your
Yeah.
real issue.
Yes.
And so he felt attacked, but he also felt, I'm sure he felt some type of way because like he couldn't tell you what the real issue was. He probably like doesn't have the language, whatever it is.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know, have you even like really thought about it? Or you're just kind of like, yeah, I'm just like la-di-da, I'm just gonna like float around and just be okay with it.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is thinking a little bit more about like compatibility versus acceptance, right? And
Yeah.
like, are we actually compatible, or do we just like the idea of each other? And to make a relationship work, you need to be somewhat compatible. But the most important thing at the end of the day is like you accept their flaws and how they are. And if you can't do that, then they're like probably not your person.
Yeah. He didn't seem to want to
Yeah, exactly.
meet you halfway.
Yeah, and it's just like 1,000 paper cuts, right? It's like stacking the scale against us. And of course, like, we come into it with the best of intentions. Of course, we're trying, we want to make it work, but like, reality is it's, you know, obviously not as simple.
Right. Because there's like a huge difference between like we can communicate through things and I accept these things about you and like I'm still going to communicate this is an issue for me. Mm-hmm. And like I'd like you to try to do better. And what you were doing, which was like, this is an issue for me and it doesn't seem like it can be fixed.
Yeah.
Like I definitely have had an ex where it was like we had issues and we had places where we like knew things weren't going to be fixed and we just couldn't come to terms with it.
Like what?
Like he'd always bring up like having kids and things like that, like even in front of family, and I'd just give him the side eye like, you know, I don't want kids, like why are you bringing this up?
Yeah, you're like, this is not a surprise. I wasn't like I'm on the fence. It's I know.
It's like, I know. And then things would continue to build up. Like we'd be at a wedding and he'd say something like, oh, I'd love to have a big wedding like this. And I was like, if I get married, I'm like eloping and just having my immediate family. Like,
Right.
and coming to the realization that we were just like completely on different pages about those things. And it wasn't like we were going to have a conversation and have a compromise. It was like, this is an issue.
Compromise on those things. It's like, I know what I like. Kids aren't something you compromise on. It's
Kids
either
are not. Yeah.
you have one or you don't. It's not like I'm gonna paint this room beige or brown. Like, okay, sure, we could probably compromise on that. But
Right, because you can be like, let's paint it beige, and we don't like it after a year, we can paint it brown, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly. Or you're like, you get one room, I get the other room, right? You
Yeah.
can't have a kid. Like, it doesn't work like that.
And then like the just other things about like where you would want to live and like what you want to spend your money on. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into the details of those examples, but it was just like, oh, I can think completely different about that. And then
Yeah.
just kind of moving on with our relationship and not really sitting down and being like, it's not working. It kind of came to like a breaking point. But with my current partner, there's a lot of things that like, it's not like we're on the same page or different pages. It's just like, I'm a messy person. I am not someone who's always putting things back in the right place.
Yeah.
I like to eat before I like clean up the kitchen. I like to do these things that are like obviously very not type A like you.
Yeah.
And he doesn't love that. He'll
Yeah.
mention to me, hey, I think it's like been a few days. The living room's been your shit's everywhere. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of a mess. I've been picking up little things and putting them away for you. Can you please like do a pass?
Yeah.
Can you be better at doing like this and doing that? And it's like, that's something I think he tolerates. Like,
Yeah, but it's like, it's not ideal, but it's something that I'm able to accept.
right.
Right. That's okay. Right. Like, everyone
Right.
has their thing. Like, no one's perfect. No relationship is perfect. You just need to be able to like find someone whose flaws are acceptable to you.
Acceptable. And then like, you accept that in your relationship that might cause some tension, but you're able to work through it or be like, oh shit, my bad.
Yeah.
And pick it up and move on.
I think as we continued the relationship, I think white boy number 2 and I just kind of realized, like, is this how I want to spend the rest of my life? Right? Because he definitely brought up, he's like, you know, like, I don't know if this is for me. And I'm like, yeah, I also feel like that, right? Where it's just these things where I'm like, I don't want to have an argument every night about you shower. Like, that's just like dumb.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why? And so it's like, if you just find people who
assimilate to my culture, or let's stop. I feel like that should have been the conversation.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, maybe it's like partially cultural and partly just like, if you find someone who all these little things you're already like aligned on, it's not even a conversation. It's not even an argument you need to have. You can like talk about like bigger things, right? Because these issues don't even come up.
Right. Yeah.
Because you literally already live the same way.
Yeah. So it has been a little bit of time since you went through the breakup, and I feel like we understand how you were feeling before, during, but how are you doing now?
I feel really good right now. I knew that we weren't right for each other, and I'm sure he knew as well. It's better to not waste time on each other or on something that you know is not going to work out in the long run. Like, I'm really good about just doing a clean break, which is why I was like, I don't really think me and you should be friends. Even though I'm like, even if you like text me or try to reach out to me, I just don't say anything, because I think we just both kind of need that space to be able to like fully move on and like do our own thing, focus on our work, our passion projects, our existing friendships, potentially meeting new people for new relationships. Because otherwise it's like you're kind of stuck in the past in a way, and it's of course really easy to like get back into the same cycle of like, and yes, we're broken up, but like you still know a lot, right? So we could probably still kind of ease back into some sort of like comfort routine, and I just don't think that's healthy.
Yeah, I feel like I've told you this before, and several of my friends have heard this from me. I just saw somewhere one time that was like, whether or not you want to get back together, whether you're like heartbroken, want to get back together, or you're heartbroken and like, I don't want to get back together, do like 30 days no contact, because then all of the feelings of like attention that you received and the validation you received, even if there wasn't a lot of that happening, just like the presence in your life will like dissipate, so that you can have clarity and understand how you actually feel. So that's kind of what I always tell people. But y'all are still talking?
No, we had one final like dinner together at like one of our usual sushi spots, and I think that one final dinner, like after we broke up, just like reconfirmed why we broke up for me.
Wow, okay.
Because, and I think part of it is like, there's just like some sort of confirmation bias, right? If you're like, oh, there's a lot of like red cars, and then of course you start seeing like every red car and you start counting it, right? Because you're like,
my God.
I was thinking about that, so this happens, right? Because like for me, I'm like, all right, man, like this guy works a lot, right? And he says this is something he's working on, you know, when we're together and it's us time, and you're not gonna be like looking at your phone, responding to Slack messages, whatever. Guess what he does at dinner? Responding to Slack messages, reading through Twitter about dumb shit, like responding to people's like texts, whatever. And it's like, okay, well, why are we having dinner together? Why are we spending time together if you're just going to be on your phone? Sure, maybe it's like a few minutes here and there, but it's just like, why can't you just put down your phone and like truly focus on us? And so I think once you start like noticing those things, it's almost like you see and you're like, there it goes. Right? Like, I don't like this. And then afterwards we're like, okay, like we'll like split the check, whatever, go on our separate ways. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna like walk this way, and of course like we're broken up, so I don't expect you to be carrying my stuff, but I'm like, that's stuff you used to do, right? Like I feel like a gentleman would be like, here, let me help you carry stuff, let me like walk you to the station, whatever. And he like didn't do any of that, which he doesn't need to because we broke up, but it's like, well, these are things you would have done if we were together.
I'm sure that felt very validating.
Yeah, it was just like that. But Emily was like, this is why we are not together, and no, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Goodbye. Have a great life. I wish you the best. He's a great person, and I'm sure there's someone wonderful out there for him. That person is just not me.
Was there anything after the breakup that kind of surprised you?
I think I told myself, I was like, okay, you know what? Like, let me just take some time to like reflect, kind of see why we like broke up, get into my feelings or whatever. But I feel like I got over it pretty quickly because it was like so short, and it was like maybe, you know, my first relationship diving back into dating after not dating for 2 years. So I think I feel maybe more okay faster than I expected.
I feel like that's good.
Yeah, that's good. That's definitely like a good thing. It was just, I think the longer you are in a relationship, the more invested you're going to be. So of course it's going to hurt more when you break up. So I think like the time definitely like helped, the short amount of time to help us like be over it. And with some of my previous relationships, it was so easy to do like the on and off thing, right? Like
Really?
easy. Yeah, so easy to like get back and like let me chat with you. And this one is like, no, don't talk. Just cut it off. We don't like block each other or anything, right? But I definitely don't say anything when he reaches out.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done the on and off thing.
If it didn't work out the first time, it's not going to work out the second time. So like, why are you putting yourself through that? Like, you know, all the things that annoyed you about him and like what made it not work. Doing an on and off thing means you're just going to put yourself through that again in the hopes that he's going to change. Things are going to be different. Let me tell you, it's not. So
No.
So for you, Jackie, like I know it's been a long time since you had a breakup.
Oh my God.
But do you remember your previous breakup before your current partner? How did that go? How did you cope? What were some of the biggest lessons learned that you had?
So I feel like my last breakup before my current partner was pretty rough because I was like madly in love, but it was also, like I kind of mentioned, not sustainable. It was a lot of disagreements that we never really had conversations about. We just like, well, I feel this way and I feel this way. And we're just in passing conversation and never really actually discuss if we're going to be able to come to a compromise or decide something, or one of us would change our mind.
So like the communication wasn't there.
Yeah. And we were pretty young. Like, I think this was in my mid-20s.
Long time ago.
A long time ago. So I think my biggest lesson from that was like, I just knew that I had to have like deeper conversations if I was like, oh, you're not on the same page, or like, what do you mean by that? And we like didn't agree.
So like having the harder conversations sooner rather than later.
Yeah. So of your past relationships, what do you think you've learned from breakups?
Yeah, I would definitely start with this one. So one of the things that I learned is like definitely assume good intent from your partner, right? Like when you, of course, you're going to fight about stuff, but always assume that they're not bringing up things out of like malice or anything, and anything that they tell you is just how they're feeling, and they want to be able to share that with you. So it's kind of looking at the glass half full versus half empty, which is always a good thing. Definitely from this past relationship and some of my previous ones, I've noticed I tend to go pretty fast. So slow the fuck down and chill. Like learn to just observe, the first couple weeks, couple months of dating someone. And like you don't have to like commit so early on, right? Like date multiple people and kind of see who you vibe the most with and like how you feel with each person and like what makes you feel like at ease. And it kind of makes me think a little bit about, I'm like, maybe we're like too hot and heavy at the beginning, right? And I remember one of the things that you said, Jackie, was like for you and your relationship, it was always been like steady, even if you met them. It wasn't like fireworks at the beginning, then it like fizzled out, and then it like sparked again. It's always been like a consistent, almost like a slow burn, right? And you're probably going to keep going until the end.
Yeah.
And so that's probably a more quote unquote normal type of relationship where they bring a sense of like calm and like ease to you. And maybe that's like what I should be looking for. Like someone who maybe it's not like fireworks at the beginning, but they're really like they make you laugh but they put you at ease, and it's like a very like calm, chill type of relationship.
Yeah. I'd also add like, if you find someone who respects you and respects your perspective and opinion, and it's just like that kind of creates that safe space and that sense of, oh, this person isn't gonna start a fight out of malice. Like they're bringing up a true concern. Then if there's mutual respect, they're coming
from a good place.
Yeah.
So Jackie, I know you've been in a long-term relationship now. So what do you think are some of the things that you've learned, being with your partner for the past 8 years?
I definitely think that what I've learned is better managing my own emotions and like understanding when I'm upset and like how to communicate that. Like I I'm not good at sharing how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't elect that information easily. And I'm with a partner who shares their emotions freely and talks about how they feel and talk about literally like every little thing they see when they're riding the bus. Like, I kind of joke that my partner is just like a parrot. He's always singing or he's
Yeah.
talking, and when he's
Yeah.
not talking or singing, it's because he's eating, you
Yeah.
know? And so I have had to kind of step up my communication a little bit and elect when he says something that rubs me the wrong way, or like I feel like a little ping of anxiety, or normally I would just like hear something and kind of let it pass, and then it kind of fester some resentment a little bit. And so we've had to have conversations about like, why did you explode on me? And it was like, well, there were 5 things that led up to this. And it's like, why didn't you bring up any of those 5 things?
It's not one little thing. It's just like thing after thing after thing, and you're like, it's not changing. I'm not being heard. This sucks.
Yeah, and that was an issue I had in my last relationship too. So I think that having a partner that really does respect you, really wants to understand why you think the way you do, and is also so emotional and empathetic and curious, has allowed me the time and space to be able to like develop those the muscle to be able to see like, oh, this is something I should speak about. This is something I should bring up. I should communicate that I'm getting this feeling, or maybe there's a misunderstanding, and I should just ask a question.
Yeah.
And then I think that I've also just learned how to share plans better. Like, I was a big, it'll all work out. I'm just going to figure it out as I go. And I like to do that still when I'm by myself. Like, I'll just be like, oh, okay, I have all these things to do today, and I don't need to share how I'm going to get from point A to point B with anyone. And so I was used to just
doing
it. And so with a partner being like, okay, how are we going to do it? How are we going to get from point A to B? What are the steps? What is the route? When do we want to leave?
Yeah, because it's not just you. It's like both of you, right?
Yeah.
Just being on the same page.
So that's been like a big learning for me. And I feel like that's helped me in my career too.
Yeah.
Because especially in consulting, you're supposed to like be able to show your work. And I used to work in a startup where it was just like anything you did that helped the business was amazing. Like if you did something, great, super helpful.
Yeah.
Don't need to know the reasoning.
Or
Whatever.
like how you did it. We just need to know you did it.
How you got there. Yeah. Results matter. A process does not. So it's kind of helped me to slow down, explain my thinking, or get feedback before like starting the plan, and sharing steps, like sharing your work, sharing your understanding, sharing your reasoning. Yeah, I think that's been my biggest learning, biggest learning in being a long-term relationship. What about you?
My biggest lessons from all my breakups. Yes, I've had quite a few relationships in the past couple of years. I feel like the running joke with me and one of my friends is she's married now, and her husband's like, I feel like every time, I see Cathy, she's with like a different guy, right? Because I don't see him very often, right? It might be like once a year. And I'm like, well, that just means I'm just getting faster and faster at identifying people who are not a good fit in my life.
Dude, that's a win.
Yeah, exactly. And I realize I just have a clearer picture of like what I want and what I'm like looking for. And it's easier to just kind of weed out people in a sense, right? Because you have limited amount of time. And I think moving forward, as I like think about like my next relationship and my next person, is one, definitely slowing down, taking more time and being more intentional about getting to know someone.
Yeah.
The second would be thinking through what are hills that I want to die on. So observing a little bit more at the beginning for like compatibility, and then kind of bringing up things that might not be as compatible for us, but things that are really important to you that you would want to try and see if you could work through.
Yeah.
And then getting to a point of, okay, I actually am going to accept this. It's not ideal. I don't like it, but I will accept it because everyone has things, right, that are not ideal.
Yeah, so I feel like it's a fine line between acceptance and settling. So you're like, you're not going to settle on anything, but you're like going to be actively like, I am accepting this like threshold of
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like you have to,
willing to
right?
die on
Like
hell for.
there's no like perfect man out there. It's like,
This isn't build a boyfriend.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's not a robot, right? It's a human being, and human beings are flawed. I'm flawed for sure, and I know I'm a lot, and I'm high maintenance, and I have X, Y, and Z. But if you can accept that, then we're all good. I think one interesting question to kind of think about is like, do we feel like people actually change?
Hell no.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Do you?
I also don't think so. And I think that's why at the beginning you kind of have to just like observe and kind of see. I'm like, would I be okay with this if this person is like this?
Yeah. Like, I feel like for me, I've definitely grown, evolved, tried to better myself through my relationship. But change, like, have I actually changed my political beliefs? Have I really changed my intellectual like level around my worldview? Have I really changed what I see as like level of fitness that I want to maintain in my life? But like my personality and like what I find funny, how I treat my family, how I like treat my friends, involve my friends in my life, interact with my friends, not a lot of that has changed. So I feel like it's like there's growth, there's reflection. I've been to grad school since being in a relationship, but I've done yoga teacher training. Like there's all these things I've done in my life to grow and try to better myself, but really changing the person I am.
Yeah, like you don't fundamentally change who you are. I mean, there might be like little things that you can kind of adapt for your partner, but like ultimately you're not.
I would argue no, even. I still say no.
Like you don't even think you would, like realistically, the adaptation that you have, like you're probably just going to go back to your old ways at some point.
No, I think that the things that I've had to change for my relationship were really, truly like things that I've grown as a person and become better at doing. And I think that maybe being in a really close relationship's enabled those things, but I don't think that they've changed my personality, changed my level of intelligence, changed my empathy. I mentioned how I communicate better now.
Yeah.
I think that those would have had to change in my career. Maybe it would have taken a little longer if I wasn't in a relationship, but it was like, it's like
It was going to happen anyway.
it was going to happen anyway. I think that it was like something I became better at.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I think like people can grow and evolve, but like really like is someone going to change for a relationship? No.
And they probably shouldn't either, right? Because if you're like changing for someone else versus like wanting to change, I think you just end up like reverting back and then you're going to get into the same fights.
Yeah,
again.
if you're like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. for this relationship, or okay, I'm going to pick up mountain biking for this relationship. I think those are all things like probably not going to maintain after the relationship.
You're like, I just did this. That's how I feel about skiing. I'm like, I just did this because of my ex and I tried it and it's cool. And would I go, once or twice during ski season? Sure. Hang out with friends. Now, do I love the sport? Probably not.
No, yeah, exactly. So I guess that's what I mean. I'm like, I don't believe anyone's changing for relationships these days. I don't think if someone says they're going to change for you, I wouldn't believe it or trust it.
Yeah. And it's probably like, it's like, sure, there might be like some compromise, but at the end of the day, you just kind of have to accept someone for who they are. It's kind of like accepting your family member, right? Who might do all these annoying things, but you're like, well, family at the end of the day, like I still love you, even though there are times when I do not.
Yeah. So it's like, if you can't be like, well, at the end of the day, you're family and I accept that behavior, then maybe compromising on that is overrated.
Yeah. And then that's probably not your person because like your love for them is not enough to overcome everything else.
Yep. Agree.
So for our listeners, what were some of your biggest breakup lessons? Have you ever stayed with someone longer than you needed to, even though you knew they weren't your person? And what are your thoughts on acceptance versus compromise?
And in the next episode, we kind of talked about marriage and kids. So I think we're going to talk about that next. So stick around.
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode and we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on YouTube and Instagram as The Modern Bay Woman.
Follow us, hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment, send us an email or a voice memo. Give us all the real feels and thoughts you may have. Bye.